Hey, Muffin here. More awesome ideas from you guys. So, we decided to do the DPM tanks versus autoloaders. Now, we've done some challenges like this before where it was either dirt versus autoloaders or autoloaders versus auto reloaders, really taking these different types of tanks and really putting them against each other. And this one was actually quite interesting because now what I mean by DPM, obviously for those that are very familiar with the tank, it stands for damage per minute. These are tanks that they don't necessarily have a very high output of damage per shot. Most of the time, these are the type of tanks that they typically have like a higher rate of fire. And over the course of 1 minute, they can actually inflict greater or more damage than most tanks are capable of doing. So those are the tanks on the DPM side. So the Leopard, on the DPM side, we have tanks like the Leopard, which has a pretty high DPM for being a medium tank. You have like tanks like the Hellcat or the Jagdtiger 8.8. These are tanks that have like a high DPM, and they're going against tanks like the autoloaders, those that you're familiar with, like the Batchat, the T57 Heavy. And we tried making this as fair as possible in terms of just making sure that whichever tiers one team had, the other team had as well. And love the amount of help that comes in wanting to participate in these videos. Thank you so much to you guys. Get a lot of participation. It's just great and awesome. Try to make sure everyone has a turn, as long as in this, for example, needed to make sure that if there was going to be a tier 10, then the other team had to have a tier 10. So when going in and then talking about the differences between DPM versus autoloaders, there are some pros and cons to them. Now, we did DPM, or actually we have done DERP versus autoloaders, and there were some differences in there. Whereas mentioned with DERP, you have that really long reload and you have that one chance to get that shot off. And that's really all you need to really eradicate a lot of the enemy's hit points, is just getting that one shot off. Like I said, if you miss, you got that long reload. With the autoloaders, now in this one, you can still do that really high amount of damage in a short period of time by clipping out the enemy, coming around that corner, but you have these small windows or these small intervals of time between each shot to get that out, and you can end up inflicting a lot of damage if you can end up clipping that enemy out. And if you miss one of your shots, you don't do as much damage, but you can still do what you can, roll back, and then you have that long reload. On the DPM side, there is no long reload typically. You basically are just constantly or typically reloading pretty fast and just being able to take those just shot after shot upon the enemy. So the downfall on the autoloader side is that once they've clipped out what they have that long reload, whereas the DPM tanks don't have that. Now, when we did the autoloaders versus DERP, I believe it was the autoloaders that won. And I know we'd also done DPM versus DERP, and the DPM tanks won on that one. So now we're taking these two to the challenge. So DPM won the first round. Hori, very good tank. So far, just one down on the DPM side. Now, the thing about the autoloaders is it really is a matter of judging to reload when you're not completely clipped out. It's a matter of sometimes reloading before knowing when you have that opportunity to try and clip an enemy out. So you want to try and have all your shells ready and lined up so that when you do get to that position of when the enemy is exposed, you can come around the corner, clip them out, inflict that damage. And where autoloaders aren't very strong is when you're having to just shoot one shell at a time, which the autoloaders do that anyway. But what I mean is you take one shot, then you go back behind cover, relocate or whatever, take another shot, go behind cover and relocate. It's not where they shine, even though regardless, you're going to have that really long reload once you've clipped out. So from the autoloader perspective, it's really a matter of making that judgment call of, do I reload when I'm not completely clipped out? Do I keep what I have and just continue shooting? So it looks like autoloaders making a comeback here. So great game. We have the DPM tanks with 1 win and the autoloaders with now 1 win. Going into one last battle. Take your votes on which one you think will win. Now, if I had to guess, now I already know the outcome of these because these are replays, but if I had to guess going into this, this one was a tough one. This one wasn't as obvious when it came to dirt versus DPM. I had done a video where it was TOGs versus KV2s, and the KV2s just absolutely ripped apart. In this one, I would say my guess was that the DPM tanks would win, because like I said, you don't have to wait for that really long reload. But even right here with this Hellcat that's trying to back up, gets too close to this AMX heavy, and it doesn't take him long to get those shots out and just basically wipe out a lot of the hit points. So even right there, quick reload, another hit, gone. All right, so one has fallen. Just that Hellcat. So autoloaders ahead. Now Grill is kind of an interesting situation because it does have a high DPM. Tank Destroyer is typically known for their cannons, but does have that DPM and quite derpy as with that average 640 damage cannon. Ooh, great shot there on the Grill. I was a little surprised that didn't have any subscribers use the SU-140. Which tank is that? The Tier 9 tank destroyer. The Russian one, that actually has the highest DPM in the game, over 4,000, quite lethal. Or the Tier 9 German tank destroyer, the Jag Tiger. That one also has a pretty crazy high DPM. And that is it. So the Autoloaders end up taking home the cup, the winners in this challenge between DPM versus Dirt, DPM versus Autoloader. But honestly, great game. I hope you guys enjoyed the vid. This is the Muffin here. You guys stay cool and keep tanking.